So Ta-Nehisi Coates is an author that decided to go and spend 10 days in Judea and Samaria and Israel, or the West Bank as some refer to it. And he decided to put it in a book that he's written and give you his now thorough insights on the conflict, the sources of it, and how to resolve the Israeli-Arab conflict. And many people have been saying that it's quite frankly simplistic and wrong. His argument is that, well, it's just the evil occupation of Israel. That's the root cause of all the problems. And he was actually taken to task a little bit in an interview. And I want to show you what he said when pushed a bit on his belief. And then I'm going to show you Douglas Murray's response. Have a watch.
I imagine if I took your name out of it, took away the awards and the acclaim, took the cover off the book, the publishing house goes away, the content of that section would not be out of place in the backpack of an extremist. So I think the question is central and key. If Israel has a right to exist, and if your answer is no, then I guess the question becomes, why do the Palestinians have a right to exist? Why do 20 different Muslim countries have a right to exist?
My answer is that no country in this world establishes its ability to exist through rights. Countries establish their ability to exist through force.
Well, this week...
Okay, now let's watch Douglas Murray's reaction to his words.
It's extraordinary. Ta-Nehisi Coates has written one of the most racist books of our era. He's an utter ignoramus, wildly overpraised. He went to what he calls Palestine, which was a literary festival in the West Bank, for 10 days. And for 10 days, with his unbelievable ignorance, he looks at everything through the prism of his own navel. For 10 days, he has the audacity to think that he understands the region. He thinks it's not at all complex, by the way. I think almost everybody in the region would counter that. CBS had one questioner. Everyone else fawns over Ta-Nehisi Coates, completely without reason. But this one interviewer put a couple of difficult questions to him, whether or not the Middle East is actually as simple as this. Why does Ta-Nehisi Coates not realize that why there's a security fence between the West Bank and the rest of Israel is because of the Second Intifada, when places down the road from where I'm sitting at the moment were blown up and dozens of young people were murdered in nightclubs by suicide bombers coming from the West Bank. He doesn't know that. He just starts talking about the barrier and then how similar it is to Jim Crow South. I mean, it is disgraceful what this man has got away with. And watching most of the American media fawn on him for years has been appalling. But now somebody has the audacity to ask a couple of critical questions of St. Ta-Nehisi, and the network goes into meltdown. He deserves far more questioning than this. He's produced a racist diatribe, and it's the shame of the network that they think it was terrible to even question him about it. You know, it's
Yeah, so he was, the network, I think, faced some backlash for, just saying these basic questions to him. I think the key point is, whether or not he wrote this in good faith or not, maybe you can let me know your thoughts in the comments. But ultimately, what this comes down to is every single thing that the anti-Israel brigade lament about Israel, checkpoints, occupation, security barriers, Israel going to war and retaliating, blockades. Every single one of those things I've listed are entirely self-inflicted by the Arabs living in Gaza and Judea and Samaria or the West Bank. None of these things that they list, that they lament, that they see Israel's doing, would occur if they chose to say, you know what, we're happy to live alongside you, either as part of your country or we'll have our own Arab country alongside a Jewish one. If they would have said any of that, then there'd be none of these things that they lament. No one's doubting they exist. No one's doubting there is not so much a blockade, but Israel has to censor what comes in and out of Gaza. Things can go in and out. Food, toiletries, clothing, all normal day-to-day materials, but not weapons. Israel has to censor that. Israel's presence in Judea and Samaria happened because surrounding Arab armies went to war against Israel. And Israel fought back and captured land in a defensive war. If they wouldn't have done that, that wouldn't have happened. If when Israel left Gaza and they didn't vote in Hamas and didn't start lobbing in rockets and terrorism towards Israel, then Israel wouldn't have to blockade and censor what goes in, censor for weapons into Gaza. So it's getting the chicken and the egg the wrong way around. This is what they do time and again, the anti-Israel lot. They say Israel did something wrong, so of course the Arabs are upset. No, it's the other way around. The Arabs try to kill the Jews protect themselves, do what they need to do, and then they cry about what Israel does in response. And I have to wonder, I really do, are they really, people like Ta-Nehisi Coates, is he really being that blind? Is he really that unaware of the anti-Semitism that lies at the root of this conflict? Is he really unaware of that the Jews don't have a place in this land? Does he really think that's the case? Does he not understand that Gaza was occupied by Egypt and the West Bank, Judea and Samaria, by Jordan pre-1967? They did not have their own self-determination then, and yet there was no complaining in terms of saying we want Palestinian statehood. That was really after 1967 war. So it's lamentable that people like Coates take such a narrow view of things and aren't able to zoom out just a little bit. To me, I feel like it doesn't take much work to understand that everything Israel does is in response to people trying to kill her. And if you want to go all the way back to the beginning of the re-establishment of the Jewish state, and you say, well, they came here and they displaced the Arabs, so what do you want? Of course they're going to be upset. Of course they're going to resist. No, that's not what happened. Jews returned there and purchased land peacefully and legally. They also always maintained a presence there, a 2,000-year presence there, and were the last ones to have a sovereign state in that land. But those who returned there from the Arab world, from Europe, did so peacefully. And then when the world accepted Israel's re-establishment in 47 and 48, the Arabs said, no, we're not accepting that. We're not going to divide the land and have an Arab state and a Jewish state, even though they never had a distinct Arab state there. They said, we're going to kill the Jews. We're going to kill off this Jewish state. And the Jews fought back in a defensive war. And the displacement that occurred then. Not that the Jews came there and kicked everyone out. The Jews came there and accepted the international community's affirmation that part of the land will become Jewish. And they said no, and Israel fought back. And in that war, where they tried to annihilate the Jews, some Arabs were displaced. Some because Israel was fighting defensively, many because the Arab armies actually told them to leave. It wasn't even Israel, it was the Arab armies saying, leave, we'll kill off the Jewish state, then you can come back. But of course, they didn't kill off the Jewish state. So again, it's the chicken and the egg the wrong way round. The anti-Israel lot and conventional thinking is, what they say is, Israel did wrong, Arabs resist. No, it's the other way around. It's the Arabs tried to kill the Jews, and the Jews defend themselves. That's the way it actually is, and always has been. If you've made it so far in this video, I have a request for you. JTV has been having a really big impact in spreading the truth about Israel and creating positive associations with the Jewish people, Judaism, and Israel. We've really grown a lot, particularly in the last year, and we're having a really significant impact, both for Jews and non-Jews. But I really want to take JTV to the next level so we can start to compete with the other big online media beasts that are often peddling anti-Israel content. And the way we're going to do that is to scale even faster. So I'd love to build a team where we have other presenters doing shows like me, let's start doing documentaries, supplementary content, animated content, etc., etc. And to do that, I'd like to build a bit of a team. So what we're going to do is we're going to do one fundraising day, just one, where we try and build up some funding in order to fund such a team. Now, to do that, it's going to obviously require people to get involved. And I'm wondering if you would consider if you're watching JTV content and appreciate what we do and want to help partner with us in taking this to the next level and spreading the truth farther and wider than ever before, I wonder if you'd consider partnering with us simply by running a mini page on the fundraiser that we do, where you just reach out to your contacts on that day that we choose to fundraise and see if they'll all chip in. If you'd be up for doing that, of which I would be so grateful, then please click on the Google form link in the video description of this video, where you can simply just put in a few contact details. It'll be a very small commitment, as I say, literally just one day that we'll all agree upon as a collective community. But the impact is going to be so big. There's such strength in numbers. If we all pull together and do this, we can take this to the next level. And as I say, all of us can partner together in bringing and spreading the truth to the whole world. So please do consider clicking on that link, filling in the form, and I'll be in touch very soon to talk about the next steps. Small commitment, but a big impact. Hi, thank you so much for watching. To watch another one, click here. To stay up to date with all our content, click here to subscribe. And if you're able to, you can help support JTV to grow and grow by clicking join below this video, where you can become a member and get perks including early access to videos and private live discussions with me. But most of all, you'll be partnering with us on our mission to change the world.